taking a look at the history between Alex Ovechkin and the Anaheim Ducks, Futures Friday, and much more on this episode of Locked On Anaheim Ducks.
You're Locked On Ducks, your daily podcast on the Anaheim Ducks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome, everydayers. Thanks for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's right. I'm Kyle Carr, and I'm a lifelong Anaheim Ducks fan. I've spent multiple years covering collegiate sports, including college hockey, but today we're talking Anaheim Ducks. Got to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, the great eight, Alex Ovechkin. He ties Wayne Gretzky's record today. So we're going to take a look at the history between him and the Ducks franchise. Then we got to talk about the Futures Friday and what is going on with the Ducks pipeline. And then take a look at the week ahead and what Anaheim has in store. Unfortunately, if you listened in last night's episode, the Ducks are officially eliminated from playoff contention. It's over. The chase is done. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere do not march with us right now, as the Anaheim Ducks, unfortunately, could not make it to the playoffs for another year. It's been so many years. It really hurts out here. But when it comes to the world of hockey, there's so many great things going on. The growth of the game, the expenditure of the game with young fans and people in regular market areas becoming big fans and everything. And a big part of that has been the Alex Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby era. And Alex Ovechkin currently is now tied with Wayne Gretzky for the most goals scored ever in the NHL. That happened against the Chicago Blackhawks, an original six team of all things. It happened in Washington, and it happened with the man Wayne Gretzky himself in attendance. And it was just a really phenomenal game, a lot of energy. Alex started the scoring with a beautiful goal, and then of course his his record tying goal was from the OV office, right from that left circle, just a massive slapper right through. So you got to love to see that. And the energy from Ovechkin was amazing. And I know you're like, yo, Kyle, this is Locked On Anaheim Ducks. Why are you talking about Alex Ovechkin, a Washington Capital? Well, it's all about that. Hockey is just one of those sports where it's bigger than the game. It's bigger than the team that you're talking about. It's all about the game itself, and to be able to be alive and witness a record that literally no one ever thought would be broken. Like, it was always said that no one will ever catch Gretzky's goal scoring record. And here we get to witness someone actually tying it. And there's still multiple games left in this season for Ovechkin to score. I guess he did say post game that he didn't want to be on the ice for the empty net because he wants it to be with a goalie in net, because that's the kind of guy Alex Ovechkin is. But putting a little Anaheim twist on the record breaking, I want to talk to you a little bit about the history of Ovechkin and the Anaheim Ducks. So coincidentally, even though he's been on this massive tear of scoring goals, especially the last year, he's just been on fire. He actually hasn't scored against Anaheim in quite some time. The last time that he scored a goal on Anaheim, he's got an assist, but his last time scoring a goal by himself was November 18th, 2019. That is quite a long time ago since he has scored a goal on this team, and the man in net was none other than John Gibson. So sorry, Gibby, you got the last Ducks or last Ovechkin goal scored against the Ducks on you, but at least it was since 2019. And once the record's broken, it doesn't matter. But so far, Dostal, he's not part of the Alex Ovechkin goal scoring record. So that's some highlights there for Anaheim. the last time that he scored on the Ducks in the Honda Center was even further back, and that was on February 17th, 2019, and that was against the old man Ryan Miller. So that was still that same year. That was the last, pretty much 2 goals. It was like the last back-to-back, not back-to-back, but that the games of that season were, so it was actually the season prior. He scored against Ryan Miller, and then coming back down in the beginning of the 2019-2020 season is when he scored the last time against Anaheim. He has only scored against Anaheim 12 times goals wise. He is in his entire career. So 12 goals against Anaheim as part of his 895 goals that he's going to be having. He was only played against the Ducks 27 times. So that's pretty good. 12 goals out of 27 times against Anaheim. So there goes to just show that kind of scoring prowess that he does have. And the most goals he ever scored against Anaheim, he's only scored 3 times against Anaheim once. And that was his first ever career hat trick in January 13th, 2006. That is the first time he scored a hat trick. It is the only time he has scored 3 goals against Anaheim in one game. He's gotten a couple multi-goal games, but that was the only time he ever got a hat trick against Anaheim, and it ended up being his first career one. Little reminiscence for you on that. J.S. Jaguar was in net. It was against the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim at the time, not the Anaheim Ducks. It was right before the rebrand. Those 3 goals gave him his 28th, 29th, and 30th goal that year. It was his rookie season. He was leading like all of the rookies in every category you could think of that year. And he was leading the Capitals in playoff goals. He was just amazing rookie season for Ovechkin back then. That was when they had the awesome Eagle jerseys as well. Just an iconic era, the tinted visor for him. And John Allers was actually the play-by-play voice for that game. It's one of his first seasons ever calling with Anaheim. And when you listen to the game, you can hear in the background, Phil Hewlett, the in-arena announcer that has been at the Honda Center forever. He is the one who called Ovechkin's first hat trick in arena. So really cool history there with the broadcast and in-house production teams. Corey Perry, Ryan Getzlaf, and Bobby Ryan. A lot of Ryans in that sentence. They were all rookies at that time. That was just after the Bobby Ryan second overall pickup by Anaheim. Perry and Getzlaf were still kind of going up and down. That's when they really started to cement themselves in the lineup. Corey Perry was number 91. Ryan Getzlaf was number 51. And then they eventually switched their numbers out. The goal scorers for Anaheim in that game were Jeffrey Loophole and Travis Moan. They were the Anaheim goal scorers. It was 2-2 game that ended up going into overtime, and Ovi was the scorer of the winner in OT. That's how he completed the hat trick. It was a nasty little shot. Did a little toe drag release right between the defender's legs, and then his celly was absolutely absurd. I mean, for your first hat trick, you got to love it. And you know how Ovi is. That guy loves to celebrate everything and anything. So just a little history, and maybe those names bring back a little memory for you. Definitely looking at the old school jerseys and looking at the different times that Ovi has scored against the team. I could have sworn he had scored a goal against us since 2019, but apparently that was not the case. I'm pretty sure I was at the Honda Center game that he scored against Ryan Miller. I can't remember if I was here on a vacation because I was living out in Boston at the time, but still a lot of memories with Ovechkin. And every time he's in town, you definitely want to take the kids to go see him just to show them what it's like to be a consummate professional and just to play hard every single game. Love having Ovechkin in the league, and it's just absolutely insane that he is about to break Wayne Gretzky's record. He's currently tied with him, and that's just something I never ever thought I'd be able to witness in my life, and it's right here in front of us. So we are absolutely blessed as hockey people and hockey fans to be witnessing this right now. And speaking about history, we got to look at the future. And the future for Anaheim is looking pretty bright, but there's some things that need some work down in San Diego, but we'll get to that here shortly. Daylight savings snuck up on us again. And if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep, 5 Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through. Whether you're staying up late, watching the NCAA tournament, squeezing in a round of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick me up whenever you need it. Between the college hoops going on right now, the NCAA D1 hockey going on. We've got nationals and going on and for junior hockey. There's just so much hockey to watch right now. It gets exhausting. So whenever I need that little extra buzz, I get that 5 Hour Energy in me and it picks me right up. Things get moving for me quick. So make sure you head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. I'm doing all blue raspberry. Need one now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They are everywhere. Stock up and today and stay energized. Now, time to look at Futures Friday, a little segment that I like to do every week. And this week, we got to start off with talking about some kind of unfortunate news for Anaheim as John Gibson is out again for a lower body injury. So the Ducks have recalled Ville Husso from San Diego up to Anaheim. And then for the movement down there, they assigned Damian Clara from Karpat out in Finland, the Liga, to San Diego. San Diego, they've been hot, but they have dropped the last two. They had a lot of wins at home, this little homestand. They did win against Tucson on Friday night, and they did have a win against the Calgary Wranglers on Saturday. However, they dropped the last home game of their little homestand to the Abbotsford Canucks with a 6-3 loss. Definitely not the way you want to leave home before hitting the road. Then they head out to Iowa on Friday, and they lost with a 4-2 loss. They also play Iowa again on Sunday. Iowa, this in the game on Friday, they scored 3 goals in 2 minutes. Let me say that again. Iowa scored 3 goals in 2 minutes of play time. It was starting at the 5 minute and 30-second mark of the game. So not even 6 minutes into the game, they score the first one. And by the time they score the third one, it's the 7 minute and 30-second mark of the game. 2 minutes, 3 goals. Dansk gets pulled right out of that net. And then they put in Damian Clara. So he does get his AHL debut. Probably not the way that he wanted to go in, but he did end up standing on his head for the rest of the game. Unfortunately, the goals couldn't come out of the win. He did stop 22 out of 23 shots, which is awesome. Good to see. And Ian Moore also got another point in the game, even though it was a losing effort. Right now, out of those two guys that just started with Stan Solberg and Ian Moore, they have been lighting up even on the offense. They're both defensemen, but they're putting up offensive numbers already. Solberg has 2 goals and 2 assists currently, and Ian Moore now has 5 points with 1 goal and 4 assists. So good to see these guys coming up. They're stepping up, coming in from the juniors and their different places across Europe, and they're starting to put up points. And you got the goaltender coming in from Liga, and he's putting up, backing up this team, making 22 saves. And it's always unfortunate when you're the goalie, you got to come in when you're already down in the hump. But he kept the goals in it and allowed them to get at least to a 3-2 lead. And then that one shot he did give by just kind of snuck by him. Don't think he was really set on his angle when he went down for it. But 22 out of 23 shots ain't a bad gig right there. The thing we got to talk about, though, when it comes to prospects, we have to talk about Beckett Sennecke. My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. Pat Verbeek was the scouting staff for him was on one when they picked up this kid. Like there was definitely some smart hockey people that were watching this young man grow up, because this season has been absolutely absurd with his goal scoring and offensive production in general. Right now, the Oshawa Generals, they are in the playoffs. They're right now they have a 3-2 record over the Brampton Steelheads. So they were up 3-1, and they ended up dropping the last game, unfortunately. But Beckett Sennecke right now, this kid, he's got in 4 playoff games, he has 7 points. In 4 playoff games, he has 7 points, 4 goals, and 3 assists. And just to put that into reference, last year in the postseason, he played 16 playoff games and he had 10 goals. So he's only a third of the way in the games that he's going, and he's almost half as many goals scored. So he is just absolutely bringing the heat this year when it comes to scoring. And if you watch any of his highlights, he's a strong physical player. His knowledge off the puck, the way he reads when the puck is in the offensive zone, where he needs to be positionally, he moves, he sneaks into those negative spaces where the defense loses him and he's wide open for an awesome shot. He's got great chemistry going on with his team down there. So absolutely love what he's doing. And just a little recap of how his regular season was this year. He played 56 regular season games for Oshawa. He scored 36 goals and had 50 assists for a total of 86 points. 86 points in a 56 game season is amazing. This guy is offensive prowess. I cannot wait for him to come up and get some more professional play time and start really building up the muscle and really getting the effects of playing in the AHL, NHL. It is a different game when it goes from juniors to the professional leagues, but the way that he is scoring, the way he's been playing, I see him absolutely ready to put on a professional jersey and start playing for this Ducks organization. Right now, if you want to catch the games for the rest of the playoffs with him, Oshawa, like I said, they are leading the Brampton Steelheads 3-2 in their series right now. They play Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, and then Tuesday if needed. So let's root for the Generals and hope that Sennecke gets a couple goals and leads them to a series win over the Steelheads. But if not, more hockey is always good for us too. So, a lot of good things with the youth right now. There's so much going on. The San Diego Gulls, let's hope they can get it back together. They're right there at the cusp of the playoffs. They got to turn it around for Sunday, get a couple more points, and just start winning games at the end of this little streak. And speaking of winning games, yes, the Ducks are out of the playoffs, but we got some fun games coming up. And now Anaheim gets to play the sneaker and just kind of the upsetter of the league. So we'll get into that and a little bit shortly. The NCAA tournament is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200, 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who is cutting down the nets. With this crazy college schedule right now and everything going on with hockey in the NHL, when you really need to tune in and get connected to what's going on the hoops, you go to FanDuel, you check out what is going on. They've got every single bet line you can think of. There's everything that you could put some money on. It's right there. So it's super easy for you to get that first $5 bet win, get those extra $200. Visit fanduel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. And now it's time to look at the week ahead for Anaheim. And like I said earlier, they are out of the playoffs. It's done. We're eliminated. We got the big old E next to our name on the standings chart on NHL.com. So the heartbreak is real. It's not the Ian we're looking for. But the fun thing about this right now, with how Anaheim's been playing and with how the youth has been coming together and how much fun they've been having, Ducks have every opportunity to get to play spoiler right now. They've got a bunch of division rivals coming up in the next few games, and this is their opportunity to just mess with the standings and mess those teams up that are trying to get into a playoff spot. Right now, looking at ahead for the Ducks take on Vancouver on Saturday. And Vancouver has 2 wins. This is going to be in Vancouver as well. Vancouver has 2 wins out of the last 3 against Anaheim, and the Ducks are looking to tie the season series. So hopefully the Ducks can come and get one, and it will be a 2-2 series for the season. The last 2 games, they've been very close, not too much of a blowout. So there's definitely some hope there that Anaheim can pull one out. And with Vancouver kind of right there at the cusp of trying to make the playoffs, you know they're going to be a lot more stressed out, squeezing their sticks a little harder. Rick Tocchet's going to be up there. You know what's. So this is the time for the Ducks to come in and completely squash Vancouver. I have all the faith in the team right now, and I'm absolutely looking forward to it. Vancouver they've lost their last 3 games and are now 34, 28, and 13, and they are 8 points out of the wild card spot. So the Ducks can keep them out of there. And the other teams can win. That's just another way to keep Vancouver out of the playoffs this year. Sorry, not sorry, Canadians. Then the Ducks come home and they take on the Oilers on Monday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific. The Oilers this year have been so up and down when it comes to playing Anaheim. The Ducks are 2-1 in the series against the Oilers this year. So definitely looking forward to it. The last game, the Ducks they scored 6 goals against Edmonton. The 2 games that the Ducks have won against Edmonton, they scored 5 or more goals. So there was like 5-3 the first win, and then 6-2 the last game. And then the one game that Edmonton did win, it was a 3-2 win. So when the Ducks can start laying on the offense, they have the better opportunity of shutting out Edmonton and coming away with a 3-1 series win for the season, which would be absolutely beautiful. Kind of a weird fun fact about the Oilers and Ducks. If you remember the comeback on Catella that was against the Oilers, I was at the Angels Stadium listening to the game. The Angels had just lost the game. It looked like the Ducks were about to lose. And from the time of getting from the top of the bleachers in Angel Stadium to my car, the Ducks had come back and tied the game. And I drove all the way back down to Camp Pendleton, listened to the first overtime, get in my house, literally left the car running outside in the garage, ran in, turned the TV on so I could keep the radio on and listen, get the TV on, finally turn it on. We all get settled in, and then Perry scores the game winner. Just absolute beautiful day for me. But looking at other stats of history when it comes to the Ducks and the Oilers, between the 2019-2020 season and the last season, the Ducks had only beat the Oilers twice, and that was once in the 1920 season. Obviously, the 2021 doesn't count because there was the different divisions with COVID, and then they beat them once in 22-23. So they've been blanketed by the Oilers the last few years, and now they have 2 wins against them this season. So that just shows Anaheim's ability to grow this year and how much better they've been doing when it comes to playing against those more offensive heavy teams. The Oilers right now, they are on a 3-game win streak. Unlike Vancouver, a little bit of opposites there. Then they also play the Kings on Saturday. So while the Ducks are playing Vancouver, Oilers are going to be playing the Kings. And speaking of the Kings, Anaheim plays Calgary on Wednesday at home and then has a back-to-back up in LA on Thursday. So right now it's looking like, we don't need to talk about what happened with Calgary the last game. It just happened. The Ducks are down 0-3 this season against Calgary, and ironically, all four of their games have been since January 1st. So they didn't play them at all in 2024. At the beginning of this season, all 3 games have been in 2025, and then they have one this week. So let's see if they can at least squeeze one out. And Calgary's right there in that playoff chase as well. So another opportunity for the Ducks to play spoiler. When it comes to LA and Edmonton, they are right at that cusp. They're both kind of in the playoffs. They're settled for second and third place in the Pacific. More the question is who gets the home ice advantage, because they are only 2 points apart from each other. And the Ducks can completely stick it to the Kings because there are local rivals and we don't like them. They don't like us. So stick it to them, take the win, and make it so that the Oilers have the home ice advantage, because the Kings right now are murderous at home. They have the best home record in the NHL. So let's hope the Anaheim can come in and kind of just take that away from them and give Edmonton the chance to come away with that first round win. LA is on a 3-game win streak. And like I said, they play Edmonton and Seattle before playing Anaheim. So a couple games there to test their little win streak before they get to Anaheim. But again, they have the best record at home right now in the NHL. They have won 28 out of 36 home games. So they just absolutely tearing it up at home. However, the road record is not the best. So that's why I'm saying Anaheim, go in there, give the Kings some trouble, take away those points, let Edmonton pass them in the standings, and then Edmonton can go in there and have that home ice advantage with the second place in the Pacific and come away with a first round victory, because Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, love to see those guys. Granted, the Kings, they've got some good youth coming up. I just cannot see myself rooting for the Kings ever. Sorry, not in the cards. Not in the cards. As far as Calgary, since we do play them, I got to mention they are 5 points out of the wild card right now, but 9 points behind Edmonton. So the only way that they can really get in is by getting that wild card spot. But the way that Minnesota and St. Louis have been playing, they keep winning games, or at least taking them to overtime. So another opportunity for the Ducks to squash a Canadian team's effort to get into the playoffs. So the Ducks can be the Iron Curtain. I don't know if that's really the right word to use, but they can be the curtain against some Canadian teams from getting into the playoffs this year and keeping the Canadian Stanley Cup streak at much more of a risk than having all of the Canadian teams involved in the playoffs. So like I said, this is a perfect time for the Ducks to have some fun. As fans, we get to kind of have some fun, root for the downfall of some other teams, and hope that the Ducks play spoiler and just get some fun times. And then we'll really start digging into looking at the offseason and the potential draft and everything that comes up when we get there. But we still got some games left, so enjoy it. And with those games coming up still, make sure you're liking and subscribing and sharing all the Locked On Anaheim Ducks content and really any of the Locked On NHL podcasts out there. We have a great crew. We've got a new show coming up, Game Day NHL. It's going to be awesome. You got to tune in. There's just so much content coming in from Locked On right now. So lock in to Locked On. And thank you for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen today. For your second listen, check out Locked On NHL Podcast, bringing you the daily league-wide stories that matter with the local coverage you love from Locked On. Find Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. I am Kyle Carr. Be good out there.